Hi, this is Jim Shannon with ECO here today to talk a little bit about Emulate 3D. This is going to be a high level overview, and if you have further interest, please let us know. We do a very in-depth presentation on Emulate 3D and show you the software in a live type environment. Emulate 3D is a dynamic digital twin offering from Rockwell Automation intended for machine builders primarily. It could be OEMs, could be system integrators, could even be end users. Typically, OEMs are prime candidates for Emulate 3D. This is an example of a typical project timeline, typically a lot of sequential things taking place, system design, automation design, build and test, training, commissioning and startup. Lots of times training, commissioning, startup take place at the work site or the end user location, and typically can be very unpredictable as to how long they take. And Emulate 3D is all about trying to compress this total project life cycle, let you now do things in a virtual environment, let you do all your automation design, your controls testing, before you even purchase any PLC hardware, before you cut any metal, before you buy the physical components of the machine. So now you can get a lot of things done. You can even do virtual training for the end user operators before the machine arrives at their facility. And commissioning and startup can greatly be done in a virtual environment, in the cloud even, and not have to have your most valuable resource, your people that are building machines, out at the end user location. Be a major time saving, major cost saving for anyone that's building machines. Some of the things it's going to do allow you to do virtual commissioning, as we said just a moment ago, in a virtual type environment without having to have a PLC, without having to have the physical components of the machine, being able to do simulation of that machine, being able to run what if scenarios and do all that in the cloud without having to put the physical components in place. Being able to demonstrate how your machine is going to work to a end user so you can get agreement on, yeah, that's what we want, and wow, yeah, what if we make these changes, what's that going to look like? Being able to demonstrate all that in a virtual type environment, and then to be able to do virtual reality based training, as we see in the bottom picture, where a person wears goggles and they can interact with how the machine is going to function with that machine not even being built yet. So some of the building blocks of this digital twin, your mechanical CAD drawings, your electrical CAD drawings, get imported into Emulate 3D. You program your PLC in Studio 5000. You can run that in the physical PLC or in an emulated controller. And then Emulate 3D is going to take the place of all the physical components. We can do mathematical modeling. We can work with robots from different robotic vendors. This is what Emulate 3D is going to look like running on your computer. We've got Studio 5000 at the bottom. Overlaid on that at the top right, we've got Logix Echo, which is simulating the PLC. So we download the program into the simulated PLC, and we can turn things on and off like we have physical I/O turning on and off. And on the top left, we have the Emulate 3D software, which is, showing a robot. It's showing work presented at a workstation. It's showing the work taking place. So it's taking the place of all that physical components of that machine or work cell. We can also go and debug our HMI program using Emulate 3D. So on the left, we got the Emulate 3D emulation of the machine. On the right, we've got our HMI, and we can test and debug our code, in a virtual environment. This can be done running on your local machine or a local server, or it's also provided by Rockwell Automation as software as a service. So you can run this in the cloud. This is called Twin Studio. In Twin Studio, we can have Studio 5000 Logix Designer. We can have FactoryTalk Logix Echo and Emulate 3D all orchestrated together like I showed on the previous slide, but we're just going to do that all in the cloud, and then we can store all our programs for all our different machines that we build in FactoryTalk Vault, which is also cloud offering from Rockwell Automation. Just to show you some examples of Emulate 3D in action, we'll click on some links here to some YouTube videos. This is Emulate 3D in action. This is actually the Rockwell Automation contactor line located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can see all the different robotic type offerings emulated here in Emulate 3D. We're using independent cart technology, moving the work from work cell to work cell. This is called iTrack in this instance. It's also a Rockwell Automation product you can purchase. As we go further down this line, we'll be able to see another independent cart technology, which is called MagnaMover. This is MagnaMover here that's moving these the work from work cell to work cell. See how fast it can accelerate and move the work from one station to another. And this is called MagnaMover, another offering in the independent cart technology line from Rockwell. Then we'll jump over and show a frozen food manufacturing line. Here we see, of course, the product being manufactured, the emulation of that line, and then we've got a lot of unique sorting here, building unique product delivery based on different orders from different customers. So you can see again MagnaMover, independent cart technology, some pick and place robots, conveyance of product being emulated here. Also on the back end, we've got some palletizers, and we see the conveyance being emulated here in Emulate 3D as well. Just some examples of what Emulate 3D can do. We talked a little bit about virtual reality training for operators. This is kind of what that's going to look like from Emulate 3D perspective. The person being trained is going to wear these goggles, and they're going to be able to manipulate the work and to follow the work instructions that are presented to them. And so they can go ahead and be trained prior to your machine ever arriving at their facility. That way they're productive from day one, working with your piece of, your machinery that you're going to put in place at the end user location. The operators are pre-trained and ready to roll right out of the chute. If you'd like any more information on Emulate 3D, please contact myself, Jim Shannon, or just your ECO account manager, and tell him that you're interested in learning more about Emulate 3D. We've got a very extensive presentation with a live demonstration of the software we could do, and tailor it to your unique needs of your company. Thank you for your time.